I died shortly after giving birth, and the first thing I felt wasn't loss. It was a melody without a source, a song with no instrument, resonating from a place where no one was playing. If every vibration carries a message, then what I heard in the moment of death was the truth of the soul, the very truth I had spent years denying. My name is Aurora Lane. I'm 31 years old, a music teacher and sound healing therapist. I believed in the rhythm of life, but I never truly believed that sound could speak on behalf of the soul, not until I had nothing left to hold on to but that vibration itself. Before I died, I thought I understood music, but I had never understood silence. I used to teach others how to breathe with sacred chimes, yet I gasped for air alone in the dark when no one was watching. I smiled and told people everything would be fine, while my heart was quietly falling apart. I believed I was a healer for others, but I had never dared to touch my wounds. I helped people release their emotions while keeping mine locked beneath carefully placed notes. And then my child was born, after a difficult labor. The bleeding wouldn't stop. My hands went cold. My body stiffened. There were shouts, machines, and voices calling my name. Then silence. And in the exact moment when everything shut down, I heard the strangest sound I had ever known. It wasn't a heartbeat, not a human voice. It was a deep vibration echoing through my bones, a wave flooding into me as if the ocean itself was singing in its native frequency. I never thought I would die like that in what was supposed to be the happiest moment of my life. I found myself slipping out of my body, like shedding an old layer of skin without resistance. I felt no fear, no regret. All I heard was a question rising from within, wordless but undeniable. Aurora, is this the first time you're truly listening? But what stunned me most wasn't that I had left my body. It was where I was being taken, a space that doesn't exist on any map of the earth, where every vibration is a sentence, every beam of light has consciousness, and where I was about to learn something I had never known about myself and about the language the universe truly speaks. I don't clearly remember the moment my heart stopped, but I remember vividly the moment my consciousness stopped resisting. Everything began to drift, as if I no longer needed to hold on, as if my entire life had been about learning how to cling, and in that instant, I was finally learning how to let go. I wasn't floating in water or flying through air. It felt like I was gliding on a stream of transparent light, with no direction, no destination. And strangely, I didn't feel the need to ask why. I just wanted to listen. I heard a soft resonance, like a string gently brushed by the wind, and yet it rang endlessly. It didn't come through my ears, but from within every remaining cell of perception. I wasn't just hearing it, I was it. As if I were the instrument and the universe had struck a note of itself through me. It wasn't an A or an E. It was a frequency without notation, a sensation without shape, yet somehow it carried all the memories I had never been able to recall. Everything around me had no fixed color. The light shifted with emotion. When I touched a warm vibration, everything turned golden. When fear crossed my mind, a silvery violet cold enveloped me. I didn't have a body to shiver, but I could feel the trembling of my soul. I was like a transparent being resonating with waves far greater than myself. And in that moment, I understood consciousness does not need a body to exist. It remains fully alive and aware, no longer confined by the limitations of human senses. I didn't know where I was going until a form appeared in the distance. Not a person, not an angel like the ones in books or movies, but a massive field of energy shaped like a cloud of light. It moved slowly, gently, like a soft halo, as if it did not need force. I didn't hear it speak, yet it emitted a frequency that made me cry without tears, because it reached the deepest part of me, the place I thought no one could ever touch. That frequency didn't tell me what to do. It didn't judge who I had been. It simply said, in a way beyond words, that I had arrived, that I was welcome. Not because of who I was, but because I was. It didn't love me for being good. It loved me because I existed. That love didn't bind or possess or pity. It simply was. And in that moment, I felt as if I had finally returned to the place I had once belonged to, long before I forgot. I had no lips to ask, but my consciousness echoed a single question. Where am I? The energy responded with a rounded vibration, like the voice of light itself. It didn't use words, yet I understood every rhythm, every layer, every dimension of it. I was standing at the intersection between truth and choice, between who I had believed myself to be and who I truly was. And then, that energy didn't stop at welcoming me. It began to guide me into a space beyond anything I had ever imagined. A realm where every soul carried its note, where the highest vibrations held the memories of the universe, and where I was about to meet a being who had been waiting for me across lifetimes to ask a question I wasn't sure I was ready to hear. I was led into a space beyond names. There was no sky, no ground, only the presence of light moving in silence, like the breath of a mother rocking her child to sleep with her heartbeat. I saw no face, yet I knew without a doubt that I was standing before a being untouched by any language that has ever existed. I wasn't afraid. I only knew how small I was. Not because I was being judged, but because I was surrounded by something so powerful and so gentle, it was beyond comprehension. I didn't ask who she was, but my consciousness was answered without words. You know who I am, because I've always been there in the silence you feared to touch. I am the voice you called intuition. I am the embrace you thought you imagined. I am the warmth that held you in the night when you cried without sound. I am Mother, not in the form you once knew, but as the universe knows how to heal a soul. The Divine Mother didn't teach through words or theory. She spoke in frequencies. Every pulse she released was a lesson, and I absorbed each one with my whole being. There was no need to explain. I only needed to receive. I felt myself dissolve into light, and then reassemble into Aurora again, but not the wounded Aurora. This time I carried the memory of something greater than myself. She showed me a map, not with images, but through intersecting streams of energy. Every person, every soul, emits a unique frequency, and those frequencies do not end when the body stops breathing. They continue to ripple through space like endless waves. I saw moments from my life, glances, words, even silences, leaving imprints on that vibrational map. And in that moment, I understood, nothing is ever too small. Every act, every thought, every vibration matters. She allowed me to feel each type of frequency. I was placed inside the vibration of anger. It was heavy like stone, cold like metal, and painful like a relentless cramp. Then I was moved through the vibration of fear, and it constricted me, suffocated me, even though I no longer had lungs to breathe. I could barely endure it until I was immersed in the frequency of forgiveness. It was light like a summer cloud, soft like the first tear released after letting go. And then came unconditional love, formless, soundless, a sensation like an open doorway of light. I didn't have to do anything to deserve it. Simply being was enough. And she spoke without speaking, yet I understood her message. Aurora, you were not sent into the world to become perfect. You were sent to live in alignment with your true frequency. And every time you choose the vibration of love, you are healing not only yourself, but the world. No one else can do that for you. I saw all the times I had blamed myself, all the times I played the role of healer while secretly exhausted and wishing I could disappear. And I realized that sometimes the most healing thing is to be honest with your pain, not to run from it, not to cling to it, but to look it in the eye and say, I still love you no matter how much you've hurt me. The Divine Mother didn't tell me whether to go back or stay. She simply placed her hand where my heart used to be, and a frequency moved into me like a sacred code, the deepest signal I had ever received. And I knew it would change me forever. I thought meeting the Divine Mother would be the pinnacle of my experience, but I was wrong, because right after that, I was taken to meet a soul smaller than all others, and yet the only one who could make me cry without a sound, and reveal the real reason I was being called to return. When the Divine Mother faded back into the light, the space around me seemed to slow down, as if time itself had chosen to stop to make room for something more sacred than immortality. A small light appeared in the distance. It wasn't radiant or majestic, but gentle, like the color of dawn in a child's eyes, like the untouched skin of innocence before the world leaves its dust behind. I didn't need anyone to tell me. I knew. It was my child. Not the fragile newborn lying in the hospital bed, but the complete soul of my child, standing before me in the shape of a being so pure that I forgot how to breathe, even though I no longer had lungs. My child didn't cry, didn't smile, just looked at me with eyes that seemed to know everything, as if they had been waiting a long time to say one simple truth. I don't need a perfect mother. I need a real one. I collapsed, though I had no knees to fall on. I broke open, though I had no tears left to cry. All the guilt I had buried rose like storm clouds, no longer willing to be pressed down. Every moment I had doubted myself. Every time I had silenced my exhaustion in motherhood. Every instant I had felt like a burden to my family, to this very child. I had carried a frequency of shame so deep I believed real love could never break through it. But in that gaze, every layer of self-judgment melted like morning fog under the sun. I didn't need anyone to tell me. I knew. It was my child. Not the fragile newborn lying in the hospital bed, but the complete soul of my child, standing before me in the shape of a being so pure that I forgot how to breathe, even though I no longer had lungs. My child didn't cry, didn't smile, just looked at me with eyes that seemed to know everything, as if they had been waiting a long time to say one simple truth. I don't need a perfect mother. I need a real one. I collapsed, though I had no knees to fall on. I broke open, though I had no tears left to cry. All the guilt I had buried rose like storm clouds, no longer willing to be pressed down. Every moment I had doubted myself. Every time I had silenced my exhaustion in motherhood. Every instant I had felt like a burden to my family, to this very child. I had carried a frequency of shame so deep I believed real love could never break through it. But in that gaze, every layer of self-judgment melted like morning fog under the sun. There were no words, but a wave of gentleness swept through me, and I felt its message. You were always enough, even when you didn't believe it. You always loved me the right way, even when you thought you got it wrong. You don't need to hold the world together for me to live. You just need to be you. I chose you long before either of us entered this life, and I haven't changed my mind. I had never been forgiven so gently, because the one who forgave me didn't ask for an apology, didn't demand that I fix anything. That child didn't teach me with words, but through the sheer purity of presence, a presence without judgment, without condition, without expectation. Only absolute acceptance. In that moment, I no longer saw myself as someone who had died. I saw myself as someone being born for the very first time, not from flesh and blood, but from a frequency of love so pure it defied labels, analysis, or possession. I was born through the eyes of my child, through the unwavering belief that I was enough. And that changed me more deeply than any healing modality I had ever studied. I reached out toward that small light, and instead of touching it, I felt myself merge with it, like two melodies rising together into a single chord. And from that moment on, I knew I could never again lie to myself by saying I was unworthy of love. I thought that experience was the ending, that healing had done its work, and the story would close. But what I didn't know was that behind that pure love awaited a choice more challenging than any I had ever faced. Because the universe didn't just show me the light, it asked if I was willing to carry that light back into a noisy, numb, and wounded world. And that, I would come to learn, was where the real journey would begin. I woke up in a dim white room, the sound of the ventilator humming like distant notes, gently anchoring me back into this world. The doctors called it a miracle. They said my heart had stopped for 3 minutes, then somehow restarted on its own. No one could explain why, but I could. I knew I had been called back, not because I owed something to this life, but because there was still a message inside me that needed to be spoken. In those first days, everything felt blurry, as if I had just risen from the bottom of the ocean and was trying to breathe on land. I heard normal sounds, but now I could also feel the frequencies beneath them. A voice, a cry, even a silence, all carried vibrations of their own. I wasn't just listening with my ears anymore, I was listening with my soul. And because of that, I knew I could never live the same way again. I returned to my newborn child, and for the first time, I didn't feel like I was trying to be a mother. I simply existed, like a steady frequency of peace surrounding the little one. I no longer taught music the way I used to. Instead, I invited my students to listen to silence. I placed a single bell at the center of the room and asked each person to strike it according to what they felt. I told them that it's not the sound that heals, it's the frequency beneath the sound that truly reaches the wound. I used to think childbirth was a one-way offering. The mother gives life and the child receives it. But after waking up, I understood that my child had given me life too, not through a heartbeat, but through frequency. Not through crying, but through a presence so pure, all I could do was bow my head in quiet gratitude. I no longer saw my child as a fragile little being who needed protection. I saw him as a soul far older than his years, one who had chosen me not because I was perfect, but because I was willing to relearn how to love from the very beginning. We didn't just communicate through words, but through feeling. Every time he placed his hand on my cheek, I felt a wave of calm wash through me, as if he were sending a signal, "Mama, just breathing is enough." I told him about the sounds I heard when I died, using the simplest words I could. He listened like a child, but his eyes carried the wisdom of a teacher. We listened to music together every night, not to be entertained, but to feel. Some nights I played a 432 Hz frequency and watched him fall asleep as if he were floating on an ocean of light. Other times I played the piano and he would rest his hand on the keys, not pressing, just touching, as if to say, "Right here, in this stillness, we are in tune." I no longer expected to teach him anything. I simply wanted to be with him in each moment, to learn from him how to simplify life, how to laugh without a reason, how to forgive without needing an apology, and how to release what no longer resonates. We walked together, listened to the birds, sat in silence when needed, cried when emotion swelled. I permitted him to feel sad, to be angry, to be free, in his emotions, because I knew that suppressing a feeling is the same as silencing a living frequency. My child isn't a gift I have. He is a frequency I'm allowed to harmonize with. And motherhood, now, is no longer just about blood and lineage. It's about the resonance between two souls joined by unconditional love. And every day, I look at him, I touch him, and I whisper to myself, "Today, I will love as if it's the very first time I've ever learned how to love." I no longer talk much about energy. I live as if that energy is part of my very body. I choose gentler words, slower steps, deeper gazes. When I feel anger, I don't try to swallow it. I ask myself what frequency I'm releasing into the world. Each morning, I don't ask what I need to do. I ask what level I want to vibrate at. I began sharing simple pieces of music online, no lyrics, just the sounds of bells, water, and wind, inviting listeners to merge with the flow on their terms. Messages started coming from all over the world, people saying they cried after just a few minutes of listening. They didn't know why, and I didn't need them to. Because what's meant to be felt doesn't need to be explained. I'm not leading a revolution. I'm not preaching a doctrine. I'm not trying to prove anything. I'm simply living as if I'm an instrument vibrating at the frequency my soul has chosen, and I let the universe fine-tune the rest. I no longer seek the meaning of life, because I've come to understand it's not something distant. It's right here in the way I touch another human being, in the way I hold silence with tenderness, in the way I love without conditions. And though I've been through a journey I'll never forget, the most powerful part isn't that I died. It's that I chose to live again, not with just my body, but with the full frequency of my soul. And the last thing I want you to hear doesn't need to come from my voice. It's already whispering from the quietest part of you, the same place the universe once asked me a simple question. I died, and I came back to life, but that's not the most important part. What truly matters is that I learned how to live, from the very moment I had nothing left to hold on to. In a world filled with noise, where people must shout just to be heard, I discovered that the most powerful vibrations require no sound. The deepest love needs no proof, and the greatest truths aren't spoken, they're felt in ways the heart cannot deny. Have you ever paused long enough to ask yourself,
What frequency am I vibrating at? Not your mood, not your thoughts, but the actual frequency your soul is emitting? Because that's what you're sending out into the world, whether you realize it or not. I once vibrated with fear, with self-blame, with the quiet ache of never feeling enough. I used to believe that I had to do something big, something grand to be worthy of love, to matter. But after everything I've been through, I see now that the most powerful vibration a person can leave behind is simply loving presence in the smallest, most unremarkable of moments.
If you feel lost right now, remember this. You don't need to do anything right away. Just pause. Be still. Listen. Not to the noise outside, but to what's happening within. Your frequency is still speaking, still sending signals, still trying to guide you. You've just been too busy to hear. And if anything you heard from me today touches something inside you, know that it didn't come from my story, it came from yours. I didn't come back to say that death isn't scary. I came back to say that life isn't meant to be lived in fear. Life is an invitation to remember that you always have the power to choose the frequency you want to live in, right now, today. My name is Aurora Lane. I'm just one bell in the great symphony of the universe, but so are you. Each of us is a note, and the world is waiting for you to play your melody. So tell me, what frequency will you choose to resonate with today?